in order to properly understand what communism is and what brought it to Russia in the first place, we need to understand the history of communism in general. Like, who started it? Where did it come from? So, first of all, the person who came up with this political theory was called Karl Marx. He was a German political theorist. And so, he theorized the theory that weighs so heavily now in politics, which is communism. Communism is basically the belief that we are all equal. Everything. We're all equal, and nobody should own private property. It should all go to the state or the government. Which, when you think about it, let's just see, why did people even want communism in the first place? When you think about it, think about it with me right now. Why do people even want communism? Well, maybe because in society, there are two classes. The very, very rich and the very, very poor. And there's no middle class. And so poor people are the vast majority. And they want equality with the rich. They don't want to have an unequal advantage. They want equality. And that's fair. The poor population should have equality with the rich. And so that was the case in Russia. And that's why people wanted to have communism as their main political structure. And so communism now is basically the rich can't own property, the poor can own property, there should be no class. That is communism, a classless society. People in Russia didn't want a class because they faced too many struggles as a poor population. So now they don't want a class. They just want people to be equal. And that is fair. But when you get to apply it in real life, let us see. Now, as a communist society, you give everything, you don't own any property. All property goes to the state. So you're basically giving everything to the government, which can easily backfire. When people wanted communism, they believed that this would save them. We'll allow history to tell. Now you know why Russian people initially started believing in communism and taking it up. And now let's see, when did it start in Russia? To my surprise, actually communism didn't even start during the 20th century. It actually started in as early as the 19th century, where there was a communist party in Russia, in Imperial Russia, when Russia was when there were royals. There was a communist party inside Russia, but it was not as big as it will get later on. So there was a communist party, and some people didn't believe in communism, some did. But through the years, as the struggle increased and increased, more people began joining the Communist Party and believing in communism, believing that theory will be their savior. And so the struggle increased, and the Communist Party increased as well. And so at the end, after World War I, the people of Russia were actually, they had it. They were I can't take this anymore. Because after World War I, Russia was in complete devastation. And so people revolted and the Russian Revolution happened. And so the communists took over the government. And so a new era in Russia began. And Russia was renamed the Soviet Union. And that is the history of why communism was really, really it actually impacted the Russian people very, very heavily because of how people were treated at the time. So people thought of communism as totally different from the monarchy that they were living in. And so they thought that this might be a better option and might save them. Did it actually save them? Or did they fall into the same trap they were in before? Well, we'll allow history to tell that. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video.